sometimes when you're working with text, just strange things might happen if you don't exactly understand as to why things are happening. Like I might have had this text which I've copied from the internet or from a PDF, and when I go to change the size, we might find that strange things happen, like with my line endings, now that they're just not working the way that I wanted them to. I'm just going to go edit and undo that formatting. The thing is to understand exactly how that things work, and sometimes people don't like to show their hidden characters, but I'm just going to click on this, which is called a little pilcrow, and that's going to show as to why that exercise just worked, that it just made my text go and break the lines in the areas where I didn't want them to break. Now, if I want to get rid of these end-of-line characters, I can use a variation of methods, but I'm just going to demonstrate in Word as to how that we can do this without downloading or copying and pasting our text into another program like Notebook or something like that, which might make it just that it does happen very easily as well, that you get rid of these hidden line breaks. Each time I see a pilcrow or a paragraph return, it means that we have broken that line. So what we need to do is to make it that my paragraph comes into an actual paragraph. Now I can do that manually and just highlight one of those characters and press the delete key, and that disappears. But if you've got a very long document, that can be very time consuming and very mundane. What I'm going to do is to just use the find and change to go through and delete these characters. However, if I go and delete the characters, it means that I'm going to have a lot of those sentences all going in together. And so you might say, yeah, that's fine. I can then break the sentences where that you want to break them. What I'm assuming at this stage is that each of these paragraphs have had a double enter, or the paragraph enter key pressed twice. And that's what often happens if it has come from a PDF where it is breaking the lines. If you haven't got those double enters in your paragraph, in your text, you're going to need to enter later on and just do that manually to enter in your own paragraph break. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use find and change. So under the edit menu, I'm just going to go find and go replace. This gives me the option to search my documents as to finding all of these little pilcrows or paragraph returns in my document. Now, there's a code that we can use to find these paragraph returns. It's a Shift 6, which gives me the little caret symbol, and a P. Notice here that all of a sudden that pilcrow is highlighted. If I go and find the next one, you'll see it goes through, Word goes through and finds each one of those paragraph returns. But I want to replace it with something. Now, you can choose as to what that you want to replace it with. You might want to just replace it with a space, and if that's the case, you'll see here that if I replace this paragraph return with a space, I'm going to get 2 spaces in here as well. Now, because I work in the publishing industry, I do not like double spaces or multiple spaces anyway, and so that would be no issue for me to go through and return and replace all of my multiple spaces with a single space, but that's up to you. What I'm going to replace this with is a tilde, something that I know that is not in my document. And holding the Shift key down, I can press the little key alongside of your number 1 key, which is the tilde. What I can do now is replace all. And you're going to see that throughout my document, I have tildes where we had an enter. Now, this one here, this first one, should have been a double enter, but it wasn't. And I'm going to do that manually later. But you're going to see here that in some places I have a double tilde. And so I'm going to work with the reverse of what I've just done. So I'm going to highlight my little paragraph marker there, and I'm going to put 2 tildes. Now I'm going to replace that with a shift 6 and a P. So I'm going to now replace all of those and actually have that end of paragraph replaced there. Now I'm going to go through and I'm just going to replace one of those tildes with a space. And I've just pressed the space key just once there. I'm now going to replace all. Now you might think, oh, well, where's my double enters? And I want you to note here that I can actually see 2 spaces. What I'm going to do is highlight now that tilde again and press the space bar twice. And then I can press the tab key and press the space bar once. And so in my second option here, so there's 2 spaces in this one, 1 space in here, and I'm going to go replace all. So that gets rid of any multiple spaces. Sometimes if you have a very unclean document or lots of spaces within it, you might want to do that again, and you'll be able to see that no changes have been made on the second run. And you'll find that it doesn't highlight anymore here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to highlight all of my text. You could use a shortcut of Control A or Command A if you're on a Mac. But I'm just going to use a long cut and go Edit and select all. What I can then do is go to my Format menu and go Paragraph. Now here I've got spacing before and after. I'm going to use a spacing here of 6, which is about equivalent to half a double enter, and go OK. You'll see that space has entered in there, and we now have spacing in between our paragraphs. Here I can just click before the W of when and press enter, and I still have that space occur. And so there I have a tidy document now that I can go through and change the size. If I now go Edit, Select All, or Control or Command A, and I can go now and change this to 14, and you'll see that all of my text runs the way that it should. Going back there to 10, and my text all runs the way that it should because there are no multiple enters at the end of each line. So there you are. That's just one method of how that you can clean up your text, working with your double enters and double spaces or multiple enters and multiple spaces. Thank you for watching.